And that's part of what I get to do now. Guys like Ryan are students here, and this isn't work, this is larceny. All right, who's next? Come on up. Another disciple. Absolutely. The mic is yours.
Hi there. I'm Brendan, and I'm a student at Full Sail as well. I'm in the entertainment business program. I'm an international student from South Africa, and I started school at Full Sail in September last year. And the reason I say this, I started school at 29th September, and I saw Les Paul live in the Iridium on September 22nd. Me and my dad flew in to New York on that Sunday. I bought a Gibson Les Paul that same day. The next day, I went to Iridium. My dad got acquainted with the manager of the Iridium Jazz Club, so he set up a personal meeting for me and my dad with Les Paul. Now, Les Paul plays two shows, an 8 p.m. show and a 10 p.m. show, and he arrives at the Iridium at about 4 p.m. So the manager organized me and my dad to meet him when he arrives at 4. So my family owns a wine farm, so we brought Les Paul some wine from our farm. And the manager brings Les Paul in, this 93-year-old guy. You know, here's the legend right in front of me, and you're starstruck. You don't really know what to say to him. He's just amazing. And I remember we sat down with him at the restaurant on the corner of Broadway and 51st Street, and we sat there for about half an hour. You know, here we were sitting with Les Paul on the corner of 51 and Broadway in Times Square, talking to him for half an hour. And I remember his crew just like, Paul, we need to go do sound check. And he said, no, I'm talking to this African boy. I've never met a white person from Africa. And that was, yeah. And he just asked us about Africa and how it is over there and what it's like. And, he didn't even know his guitars are sold in South Africa. In South Africa, it's a bit different. If a Gibson Les Paul in South Africa is like the holy grail. I mean, with our currency, a Gibson Les Paul is about the same price as a car over there. So for me to own a signed Les Paul now is just amazing, and to start school, meeting him prior to starting school was just the best thing I could ever ask for. When you're around Les Paul, you get this feeling of, he kind of motivates you in this weird way. Here's this 93-year-old guy sitting on stage, playing with 2 fingers, still working. The rest of his hand has got arthritis. And he just motivates you to do what you love and care for people around you. And it's true, what the first speaker said earlier, he was a ladies' man. That is true. He made 25-year-olds blush in the Iridium that night. I mean, that wants to be done. He's a real ladies' man and a jokester all around. But like I said, starting school, to meet him prior to starting school was the best motivation I could get. And the first month in IMA, we learned about Les Paul, and it was just how I could share my stories with the rest of the class. It was pretty amazing, and he will always be my hero. Thank you.
All right, it is my great honor now to bring up our next guest. I'd like to welcome from Guitar Center, please say hello to Mickey Greer.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, hold on. I have to set this up real quick first here. So, for those of you who know me, I'm always moving around and never stop, right? So, this is just going to build the intrigue really quick. Like there's not enough guitars on the stage. I'm just going to leave this here for a second. So I wanted to thank you all for being here. Apparently I'm the de facto historian, so please let us not forget that this evening we have a raffle going on courtesy of Gibson for Les Paul. If you haven't purchased your raffle tickets, please do so while I'm talking. It'll make it that much more interesting. And also grab some Red Bull. It'll keep you awake. So let's see if this little clicky thing works here. Nice. Okay, I want to thank you all for being here tonight, especially to Gary Jones and Scott Dansby and the entire Full Sail University staff for spearheading the event. especially to Michael Wagner, Tiffany Dragon of Gibson Guitars, who cannot be here this evening, and Music Cares and the Grammy Foundation. Again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mickey, and I am the store manager for Guitar Center in Winter Park, and it is my job to help people make music. I would not have a job, nor would most of us have these wonderful jobs and careers that we have today were it not for a man named Lester Polfus for his contributions to the industry. I thank you, Les, and I celebrate your life with everyone in this room tonight. What we have up here is, I'm going to talk quickly about his technical achievements. This man has several patents under his name. Here we have one for the combined bridge and tailpiece for a stringed instrument. Here we have another one that he worked on with Ted McCarty. Here's another one for electrical musical instrument for an innovative design of pickups. And another one, a method of electrically reproducing music and improved electrical pickups for practicing the same for a pickup more specifically designed for drums. There's a funny article I read. I read it online while I was preparing this. It said, Les Paul's mom invented rock and roll. So how does that make sense? Well, consider this. He built his first crystal radio at age 9. When he was 10 years old, he devised a harmonica holder out of a coat hanger. Soon afterwards, he made his first amplified guitar by opening the back of a Sears acoustic model and inserting behind the strings the pickup from a dismantled Victrola. In his teens, he took the magnet and coils out of a telephone receiver and put them under the guitar and attached that to a piece of railroad iron he found and connected it to his mother's radio. If it hadn't been for her infinite patience, we probably wouldn't have rock and roll today. Les Paul said in 1991, honestly, I never strove to be an Edison. The only reason I invented these things was because I didn't have them, and neither did anyone else. I had no choice, really. There he is working. Imagine if you put yourself back in the recording era when Les Paul started out. The first recording sessions up through 1950s. It's a single disc lathe using acetate in one room and a couple of engineers looking at it with all the musicians in the other room and a single carbon or ribbon mic set up. And you prayed that the take would be great so you wouldn't have to do it again and throw away the old acetate. One mic, everybody hit it and quit it. That's the world that Les Paul changed. This is the first home studio. Already in '46, he developed a unique sound working with self-made disc lathe that he made out of a truck flywheel and trying out delay reverbs and echoes on the song Lover, which was released by Capitol Records in 1948. This became a hit much later on, but he needed more. So how did it happen? After World War II, he meets this guy by the name of Colonel Ranger, who showed him a tape recorder which he had located in a German military electronics lab. Les was playing with Bing Crosby at the time, and he informed Bing of the machine. Now, since Bing really wanted to play golf and not spend any time in the recording sessions, Bing had him make 50. Well, Ranger Tone couldn't make the 50, so he went to Ampex, and that led us to the Ampex 200. This is the first multi-track recorder that we made here in the U.S. So he's thinking around, he's on the road, and he goes, well, what could I do with that? He says, so what he figures out is he calls Ampex, and he tells Ampex, hey, dude, well, probably didn't use dude, but he says, I burnt out one of the heads. Can you bring it to me? Now, that's a monophonic machine. So he takes that other head, he mounts it right in front of the other, and at that moment, you have sound-on-sound recording. That was the genesis